Hi guys, my name's Tony. I'm going to show everyone how to upload their irrigation system details onto the RainBird Cirrus program. So we're just going to be working on the first tab of 3 today, and we're just going to kind of set up our system settings, and then we're going to get into the individual head and system details right afterwards. So we'll go to this first tab, System Settings here. And what originally pops up is the hardware. So technically what system we're working on. So the 2-wire system is your typical satellite system. And then the link system is radio to satellite, and then the satellite to the individual stations. And what we're going to be working with today is a decoder system. And the way to toggle which system to work with is you just click on this box here, for example, for the 2-wire system. Click on these 3 buttons, and then a menu will come up, and you just say OK, and you'll be switched over to that system. But for today, we're going to stick with the decoder system. So on to the next one, which is international settings. And then we're here, we just want to keep it in English. Your system might come up in liters per second, but we recommend switching it to US units, gallons per minute. That's the typical industry standard. So after that, I'm just going to pass it off to my friend Ken here.
Hey everyone, I'm Ken, and I'm going to go over the next 2 tabs with you. So the first tab we're going to start with here is the area definition tables. So you're going to click on that one, and it's going to bring you to a page that looks like this. So you have a chart in the bottom left that allows you to designate your area handles. So in order to do that, you can click that, which will give you a drop-down menu of every letter that's in the alphabet. And once you choose one of the letters, it should be known that you cannot use that letter again. So be wary when using them. Now, once you have them all designated, you can go over on the right side and you can type in whatever you would like them to say. For us to keep it easier, we're just going to stick with greens, fairways, tees, perimeters, approach, and rough. Now remember, when you type these in, always hit enter afterwards in order for them to sync into the system. And then we're going to go over and we're going to close this tab out. And then we're going to move on to our next tab, which is the default data settings. Now, within this tab, there will be 2 tabs we will be looking at. The first one here will allow us to set our runtime. And this one is called the default runtime. So you'll put in, we have here set at 10 minutes. This makes it a lot easier in order if you have to raise or lower your irrigation time. So we have them all set to 10. And once you do that, you can now move over onto your next tab, which is your default rotor settings. Now, when you move into here, you can see on the left, everything that you did in the last tab is there: greens, fairways, tees, perimeters, approach, rough. And then you'll see a symbol that tells you rotor settings, and you can actually go in and you can choose like the rotor you would like. We have the 700 set here for the greens, but if you need to, you can click this drop-down menu. And on the left-hand side, you'll have all the heads that RainBird offers. And then you can go over, and we are dealing with an orange nozzle at 80 PSI. So you would just follow that over to 31.9. And then you would click OK. And that would set that, as you can see, on the right-hand side. So we've gone ahead and done that for all of them. And then when you're finished that, there is another column to the right of the GPM that allows you to actually put your rotors and your sprinklers, how many per station. So for greens, we know that there is only one per green, so we'll keep that at 0, so because they're not paired. And then assuming that the fairways, tees, perimeters, approach, and rough are always going to be paired, we have set that to 2, so that it will always have them in pairs. Now that can be changed in the system details tab. So once you're done that, you want to click the black arrow at the top to import your data. And then now you want to click these areas. So you want to click all greens, all sub areas, and all data. And this will make sure that anything you put into this next area will always come out as what you just set it as. So once you hit OK, you can now close this out. And I will pass it on to Tanner to explain to you the rest.
Hi, my name is Tanner, and with all the information Ken just laid out for us, we will now begin to input it into our golf course. So we're going to go over and click on Station Details here, and this will bring up another menu. So starting on hole 1, you'll see on the top that we have greens, fairways, tees, perimeters, approaches, and rough. We will be starting at the green for hole number 1, and we know that we have 5 sprinklers. So selecting G as in 1, and selecting the the plus arrow 5 times. You can see on the left-hand side, as they are selected, they are corresponding 1G1, 1G2, 1G3, all the way down to 1G5. Moving on down the chart, we will go to our decoder address, and we will correspond these with each sprinkler, starting with number 1 all the way down to number 5. Moving down the chart, we know that our decoder system for our greens are the FD601s, so we will go ahead and select those. Moving on down the chart now, we have number of solenoids. We know that each individual greenhead is a solo, so we will leave those as number 1s. Right beside it will be our set time that Ken has already entered in the previous section. Moving farther down the chart now, you will see that we have our total required gallons per minute for each sprinkler, and that our green sprinklers are our RainBird 700 series. The section right beside our sprinklers will be our number of rotators, which will also be the number of sprinklers. We know that these are all paired separately, so they will all just remain as 1. An important thing to remember, in the top left hand of this program, the first block being the course you would like to be working on. You can be working on up to 3 courses at a time. The column right below it will be the corresponding hole you will be working on. So right now we are on number 1. Moving on to fairways now, we will select the F box on the top. And we know that we have 9 fairway stations on this hole, so we will be pressing the adds button 9 times. So, just like previously, we will be going along to the decoder address and continuing the numbers. So this will continue with 6, 7, 8, 9, etc. And then again, moving over to the decoders themselves, we know that the ones that are paired together will be FD202. We know that one F9 is paired by itself, so we will leave that decoder as FD102. Moving along now, we have the numbers of solenoids. We know that each sprinkler, except for one F9, is paired, so we will go ahead and change each pairing to a 2, and leaving the last one as a number 1. Moving along now, you can see again our set time that we've already inputted. And moving a little bit farther down now, we will be able to see our gallons per minute required, our series sprinkler. So for our fairways, we have our Eagle 900 series, and we know that for each pair of rotors, they are paired together. Now you notice that when they are paired together, the gallons per minute is also doubled. So we know that one F9 is a single sprinkler, so we will go ahead and change the 2 to a 1. And you will also notice that the gallons per minute will also change corresponding. You can now repeat this process from hole to hole, and you will be able to complete your greens and fairways. I will now pass you on to John, who will show you how to repeat this process for tees and perimeters.
Yeah, hello, I'm John. So this is going to be a very similar process to what Tanner just described for the greens and fairways. So to do the tees, we're going to go up and select tees. We have 4 for the tees, so we will go down to the plus side and add 4 different stations. Perfect, so now we will go over and we can number those. It'll be 15 to 18 for the decoder address. Next, we will go over and we will switch our decoder type to an FD202. They will be 202s because they are paired together. Then moving over to the number of solenoid column, we will switch all that to 2 as well. The column right next to the number of solenoids is again the time, which Ken set previously to 10 minutes. Now sliding over to the far right where the green columns, the 63.8 represents the GPMs, the gallons per minute. Right of that is the type of sprinkler head that Ken entered in previously as well, which is the RainBird 700 series, which we are using for our tees. And the column directly right of that is the number of rotors, which is 2. So that completes the tees. Now for perimeters, it was very similar. You go up, we'll select the P for perimeters. In this example, we have 2, so we will add 2 stations. Going over to number these, it will be 19 and 20, continuing from where we have previously left off. Again, we will be switching these to the FD202, and then to the number of solenoids, that will be 2 as well. Again, we will shift over to the far right. It shows our GPMs. Here in this case, we're using the Eagle 950 series, and there is 2 number of rotors per zone. So I'm going to pass you now over to Evan, and he will show you how to do the approaches and the rough for this hole.
Hi there, yeah, my name's Evan, and let's head over to approach right away here, as we'll add in our approach station. So for this hole and all the other holes on our golf course, we only have 1 approach station per hole, so we'll add 1 station. And then we'll look over at the decoder address, and we'll continue adding that in to 21. Our decoder type, again, because it is a pair, we're going to do FD202. Moving over to the number of solenoids, being a pair, that'll be 2. You can see our default runtime of 10 minutes is still there. And we'll head over to our sprinklers here. So our gallons per minute is at 74.2 based on 2 Eagle 900 series. So now we're going to head over to rough. For this hole, we have 5 stations in the rough. So we're going to add 5 stations. We're going to continue our numbers for our decoder address. And these are all paired as well, so we'll switch them over to FD202. And after we're done that, we'll head over to our number of solenoids and switch these all to 2 as well. And we'll carry along over to the side. And again, you see the Eagle 900 series sprinklers paired up produce 74.2 gallons per minute. And with, the 2 rotors. So now if you head to the All Areas tab beside greens, we can see a full list of all the sprinklers and stations on this hole. This will give you a full overview of all the different decoders and sprinklers and addresses that you have on this hole. Now, you can continue this process that we've done for the rest of your golf course. And as we flip over to hole number 2, we can see that we've already inputted this data, and it might be a little different just based on the number of stations. And continue on to number 3 as well. So now you would just continue this process through the rest of your golf course, adding all the different stations for each hole. We would like to thank you for watching this video on how to set up your RainBird system with your different stations, and we'd like to enjoy the rest of your day.